Shalom, Israel. All praise to Yahweh Shalom Mashiach Yahweh Shai on this Burnt Toast Tuesday. We're coming back at you live. You can't be an Old Testament or New Testament only Israelite. Let me change this thing. I'm sorry I'm coming to y'all late, but man, my computer is tripping. The other one, good thing I got to back up. So here we go. Here we go. We had discovered the other day on the Sabbath, we had came out with a class talking about you can't be an Old Testament or a New Testament only Israelite. Why? Because in order for you to understand and get the prophecies of the Old Testament, you got to go into the New Testament. In order for you to understand the prophecies of the New Testament, you got to go to the Old Testament. So they work together. And people that's doing that, or people that's got this belief, is totally off because they're not getting the whole prophecy. And I want to go, before I even start, let me get these scriptures right here about this prophecy right quick before we get into anything. I want to go to the first one. Let's go to Matthew. I'm going to go down the line. Matthew 13 and 14. Matthew chapter 13, verse 14. And it reads, and in them is fulfilled the prophecies of Isaiah, which is Isaiah. And we're going to cover some of Isaiah's prophecies, because without going to the Old Testament, if you're a New Testament only Israelite, like a lot of these Christians are, the Old Testament is done away with, then how you know you're following the right Messiah if you're not following along the prophecies, if you're not following in the prophecies? How would you know? How could you tell? How could you keep up with what's going on and who you're supposed to be following and who you're not supposed to be following? The fact is, it says, and in them is fulfilled the prophecies of Isaiah, which said, by hearing ye shall hear, and shall not understand, and seeing ye shall see, and shall not perceive. For this people's heart is waxed gross, and their ears are dull of hearing, and their eyes they have closed, lest at any time they should see their eyes, and hear with their ears, and should understand with their heart, that's the mind, and should be converted, and I shall heal them. And the fact of the matter, that's why a lot of us died here, because a lot of us in Christianity, and now we got these Israelites who claim to be Israelites, but then now they're in what they're calling Old Testament only. And the fact of the matter is, that's why they can't hear the new scriptures. And then a lot of times I meet a lot of the Old Testament only, they don't even go by the laws, and they only in the Old Testament and still don't follow the laws. So, and then you got your New Testament who looking at, oh, I follow Jesus, and how do you know if you're following the real one if you're not even occupied in the Old Testament to see that you're following the right one? Because it's the prophecies. Like I said, in every movie that comes out, they have all those different movies. And one thing about those movies, it tells you about prophecy. Prophecy. Let me change that. It won't allow me to change it around. It tells you about prophecy. Prophesying. And then you always follow the prophecies. Like I said, even in the Matrix, they had prophecies that they went by, and that's how they figured out that Neo was the prophecy. They're going by the prophecies. And here we are, the Most High has set up a whole world, a whole earth full of people, gave a book with prophecies that have been coming to pass since the beginning of time. So why stop now? Stopping you now? All of a sudden we don't understand, or we don't want to try to understand, because we want to be stuck the way we stuck. And I don't even understand how people can be running around here want to be stuck all the time. That's crazy. Shalom, Adaya. All praise to Yahweh Shem Mashiach Yahweh Shai. Man, and like I said, our people just stuck in a certain place and they don't want to come out of it. They'd rather just believe what they're going to believe. They can't grow because the Old Testament only, the Christians, so-called Christians, they stuck in a place where they can't get no understanding of the Bible because they refuse the Old Testament. The Old Testament Israelites, they just stuck in a place where we done already proved Joshua's not the one we're looking for. Joshua was not the one that was prophesied in Deuteronomy 18 and 15 through 18. That wasn't him. We proved that. And if you don't believe me, go back and watch the video for the Sabbath class. And you'll get all the scriptures you need on that as we run it down through there. But then again, let's finish up what it's saying. Hear therefore the parable of the sower. And it's going to go into the sower, the seed, and the kingdom. So these prophets is talking about the coming of the kingdom and the coming of your, when he's telling us to go in Isaiah to see what he's talking about. And it's giving us that. Let's go to 2 Peter chapter 1 and verse 9. And we're going to jump over into some these Old Testament prophecies. 2 Peter chapter 1 verse 9. What did I get over here? Okay. And it reads, but he that lacketh these things is blind and cannot see afar off, and had forgotten that he was purged from his old sins. And it's telling you, I wanted 19, but that was a good one. I'm going to go ahead and break that down once that's with that. But he that lacketh these things is blind. If you lack the division of these prophecies, you blind. And if you claim to be, that's Old Testament, that's the Old Testament prophecy. If you lacking the prophecies and who this is supposed to be, you blind. Because if that's the case, everything stopped back then. Nothing else went on. Who you waiting on? David to come back? But he said out of the seed of David, so it couldn't be David. He ain't birthing himself. It's out of the seed of David. Shalom, Yaakov. But I want to go, what I was getting at was 19. I just went ahead and did that since and then let me go ahead and finish that out. But he that lacketh these things is blind and cannot see afar off, and have forgotten that he was purged from his old sin. And see, that's a lot of time. If you're claiming to be Old Testament Israelite, the fact of the matter is, you're not purged from your old sins. You have no sacrifice. It's blood that atones for the sins. Like the brother was trying to bring up that time, well, you can do this and you can, no, it's the blood that sacrificed for sin. That's why the Most High had to give us, even to the poor that couldn't afford the turtle doves. The Most High gave us a sacrifice, the blood of the Lamb, which was Yahushua himself. Let's jump to verse 19. We have also a more sure word of prophecy. We have a more sure word. We understand because of the prophecies. We looked and that's what they said, so we know who, when Yahushua came up on the planet, that was him. That's what he was trying to tell the Pharisees and the ones in charge. But they didn't want him to be king because they'll be moved out of their seats. They'll be found out their secret sin. They'll be found out what they're doing is not according to the word of the Most High. So the fact of the matter is, you have to have looked in prophecy. That's why they said they searched the scriptures. Paul said he searched the scriptures. Peter said he searched the scriptures and found that this man here is of the prophecies. He is of the seed of David. He is the man that was called for. He is what they said he is. Whereunto you do well that ye take heed, as unto a light that shineth in a dark place, until the day dawn and the day star arise in your hearts. And see, that's for you that speak this prophecy, the word of truth from the Old Testament and the New Testament. Y'all are light, and it's hard sometimes for them people in the dark to see, and that's the Old Testament only, and the people in them dark to see the New Testament only. Y'all are the light to bring that gap. Y'all are that bridge to bring that to repair that breach. because you believe the volume of the book, which we came out earlier. If you, like I said, you have to go back and look at the Sabbath class video. And it reads, again, knowing this first, that no prophecy of the scriptures of any private interpretation. So you can't even prophesy this thing. Look at these prophecies and get a private interpretation. That's why the majority of Israelites, Old and New Testament Israelites, see the same vision. Because they occupied in the prophecies. They looking, they searching the scriptures. They're looking back and forth, in the front, in the back, or in the middle, all of it. And it all lines up. The way y'all got it, if you Old Testament only, it don't line up. You making up stuff that don't fit. Just like the Christianity. It's like I said, the one thing y'all both have in common is y'all don't have the full meaning of the scriptures. One has a beginning, one has an end. Maybe y'all need to have a Bible study together. That way y'all can put it together and realize, oh, them Israelites are right. Them Israelites are correct about what they're doing. For a prophecy came not in old time by the will of man, but holy men of God spake as they were moved by the Holy Spirit. And that's exactly what happened. That's exactly what happened. They were moved by the Holy Spirit so you can get an understanding of the Bible. But y'all saying, I don't really want to understand it. I like what I like. I got a God made up in my head, and I'm going to stick with that. Well, that ain't going to get you to the kingdom, and it ain't going to get you no salvation. And let's go to Ezekiel chapter 13, verse 28. Therefore say unto them, thus saith the Lord God, there should none of my words be prolonged anymore, but the words which I have spoken shall be done, said the Lord. Whether y'all like it or not. For you that's in Old Testament only, guess what? Those prophecies coming to pass, and a lot of them hadn't come to pass. Some of y'all believe that everything's been fulfilled. Well, why are we still here? Why are we still here if you call yourself an Israelite, but we still right here in captivity? Then the brother had said that, well, we free to go anywhere. Show me where the white man ain't got his stamp at. In the land of Africa, stamped all over. They still colonized. Then the other ones that's leaving the United States, the connection with the United States, they going and giving theirs over to Putin and China. To the other heathen, excuse me. To the other heathen. They going right back over there. So wherever they going, guess what? No matter where you go, well, you can get a passport. Where you gonna go? Where you gonna go? When that passport run out, you still gotta come back unless you're gonna claim to be defected. And then when you defect to a country, you still gonna be in the hands of the Edomite. Period. They got a base over there. They got what they call them things, where you got to go check in, where the United States got a little piece in all these countries. They got more than any of them. Any of them. Embassies. More embassies all over the world than any nation. They stepping foot in anywhere. I don't care what kind of passport you get. You're going to get with them no matter what. And when yours is over with, unless you'll be illegal in that country, you're going to be brought back. Just like if you break out of jail, when they catch you, they bring you back in chains. Go ahead and leave the country without no passport. You got to get permission from them to get a passport. Go ahead and leave the country without a passport. You're property of the United States right now. And they will get their property back. You got to pay taxes. Bring your butt back home. They're going to bring you right back. Let's go to Revelation chapter 1, verse 3. I'm just giving you some stuff on the prophecy right now. Most High was serious about his prophecy. That's how you keep up with what's going on in his Bible. That's how you know the Bible is true. See, if you don't believe the prophecy is not true, then what are you in the Bible for? What are you living for? It's the prophecy that, if you're New Testament on, it's the prophecy that's telling you that who you worshiping is supposed to be who you worshiping. It's the prophecies of the Old Testament only that telling you what's forthcoming in the future. And if you stop at Malachi, then guess what? You don't have the old prophecy. You don't know what came to pass and what hasn't came to pass. You incomplete. You're not all there. And I can tell when you're talking to some of y'all, you're not all there. And we know dang on well when we talk to Christians, Christianities, they not all there. And you can tell when you're going through these scriptures. Mad at us for bringing up the whole Bible. Mad at us for using the whole book. Y'all act like God is not in control. No, that was a different God in the Old Testament. No, it's the same one. You just reading a couple of scriptures that make it sound like he's just so this and so nice and so tender. But he's an austere man. You skip those scriptures. You skip the part where he pull out the whip and start whooping folks. You skip the part where he said those that would not hear me, would not do what I say, bring hither and slay before me. You skip those parts. And try to make it out to be a different God. No, it's the same one. Same one. Same Yahweh in the Old Testament, same Yahweh in the New Testament. Same Yahweh in the Old Testament, same Yahweh in the New Testament. The same one. Revelation chapter 1, verse 3. Blessed is he that readeth. See, that's one thing, y'all stop reading. Y'all stop reading in Malachi. Then the New Testament started reading in Matthew. And claim you got it. Don't make no sense. Don't make no sense. Don't make no sense to go to the movie and watch half the movie. Even if you started at the beginning, watch it at the halfway point, or you started in the halfway point and watched to the end. You're going to want to finish that movie. So why won't you finish the book and understand the book? It says, blessed is he that readeth, and they that hear the words of this prophecy, and keep those things which are written therein, for the time is at hand. So if you Old Testament, if you ain't dealing in prophecies, you can't even go to Revelations to get the information. That's going to be the end time. The destruction. The instruction of what you should be doing. And if you're a New Testament only, guess what? You don't even know if you worshiping the real God to even know that the prophecy is going to be coming to pass. Are they true? You just picking up in the middle. Yeah, that's him. How you know? How do you know? Then you say the dumbest stuff. Oh, he's in my heart. Well, how can you know if he's in your heart? Or is that just your wicked ass mind that think terrible anyway? It's crazy. It's ridiculous. Revelation chapter 19. Verse 10. And I fell at his feet to worship him. And he said unto me, see thou do it not. I am thy fellow servant and of thy brethren that have the testimony of Yahweh. Worship him. Worship Yahweh, for the testimony of Yahweh is the spirit of prophecy. That Deuteronomy 18:15 is the spirit of prophecy. Who else was that person that came and did the thing that the Old Testament prophesied about? Who? Y'all gonna say a name that ain't even just some name that don't got no. If this man's supposed to be the greatest, there should be a whole written all over it about it. But then y'all, oh, they took it out. So y'all telling me the Most High don't have no control over things? He has all the control over things, all the control. But you don't trust. You trust your enemy more than you trust God. Because if you think the enemy got power to take it out, y'all got to be out y'all mind. Everything that the enemy always try to do when it comes against the Most High always come out victorious. The scriptures you got, the 80 books, that's for you. That gives you you start studying and doing that and applying that to your life, that's your salvation. That's your healing. And you need the volume of it. The whole volume, the whole book. He said, a fellow servant is thy brethren that have the testimony of Yahushua, worship Yahweh, for the testimony of Yahushua is the spirit of prophecy. So if you New Testament, you got to go back and see if what I'm claiming, is it true? How do I prove what it is that is true? Or are you just saying it? Because you don't understand what Paul and Peter and all the New Testament prophets were writing. You don't understand it. And they was always quoting from the Old Testament. And then your Old Testament only, they got prophecies that you know dang on well they haven't come to pass. You know. So when do they come to pass? How do they come to pass? When have some of them came to pass? It's in the New Testament. That's the only way it lines up. But y'all got this old half-beaten, crooked stick. Talking about this it? No, he said that path is straight and narrow. And it lines up from Genesis all the way to Revelation. It's a straight line. But see, when you're not keeping the commandments, you can't see that. You can't put it together. You can't understand. Psalms 111 and 10. Let's go to Revelation 22:7. I'm just giving this before I even start. Behold, I come quickly. Blessed is he that keepeth the sayings of the prophecy of this book. That right there, brother, if you New Testament only, it says the prophecies of this book. Where are the prophecies? The prophets that spoke. That's in the Old Testament. So you cannot be in New Testament only. You can't be in the Old Testament only. Because you got to find out where the other prophecies at. And if they did take them out the book, you need to go find the book. And I bet you're going to be hard trying to find that. The sad thing is, it's right in your face. It's in the book that you stop at Malachi at. Then you only read the New Testament trying to prove it wrong. Then the New Testament, read the Old Testament, try to prove it wrong. You can't do that. They couldn't do that. But then we see they did do it. We see they failed. We see our people doing the same thing today. We can do it. No, y'all can't do that. Why can't we? We doing it. You can't keep the commandment. How come I can't? How come I can't love my brother? How come I cannot sleep with a man? How can I not shave my beard? I can do all those things. Only thing I can't do is make the sacrifices right now. But that other stuff, I can do. You can too. Ain't that what y'all saying, church? I can do all things in Jesus Christ, he strengthens me. Well, you can do the commandments too. Tell them to strengthen you. It's amazing to me. It is amazing when people just say these dumb things that makes no sense. And then these be Israelites. Then it be the Christianity. And we've been indoctrinated so hard. It's hard to come off of that. But like I said, but when you heard the Most High voice and came and know you was an Israelite and realized that you follow along with everything in it, you should have just took whole heed to it. But some of y'all get tossed to and fro. Somebody come right along and take that word right out of it. Oh man, I'm an Old Testament only now. Donovan, please send me that scripture, please. I asked you for it the other day. Yeah, that's come in the volume of the book. Psalm 47 come in the volume of the book. We went over that too. That was on the Sabbath class. We pulled both of them. But now he's not on there. Donovan's not. Yeah, he is. Donovan, if you're not on, I need you to come back in. That scripture I was telling you about the other day. Golly. I think it was in 1 Corinthians. But it was talking about the being unrighteous, coming out of righteous and then going back into unrighteous. If you can post that for me, I appreciate it, brother. And now let's go to stay in 22. It's the last book of the Bible anyway. And let's go to 18. And we're going to read to 19. For I testify unto every man that heareth the words of the prophecy of this book, the prophecy of this book, the prophecies of this book. If any man should add unto these things, God shall add unto him the plagues that were written in the book, in this book. So don't be surprised if you're Old Testament only, you're going to catch some plagues. Because you're trying to add other people and replacing your house. And if you're New Testament, yeah, you're going to catch some plagues. Might be that COVID. You're going to catch them. Why? Because you trying to take out of this book. And if any man shall take away from the word of this book, of the book of this prophecy, God shall take away his part out of the book of life. So if you take it out of the book, you ain't going to be written in the book of life. Because that's going to lead you to a Messiah that not in the book. Because you hadn't been occupied in the prophecies. You don't want to go into the Old Testament. It doesn't work. Don't y'all see that? It doesn't work. It don't work that way. It can't. It makes no sense to you. And what's so bad about it, your New Testament and your Old Testament, only Israelites or only whatever you are, you know it don't make no sense. You forcing yourself to lie to yourself. You forcing yourself to lie to yourself. If you add, you ain't gonna get it. If you take it away, you ain't gonna get it. If you add to these prophecies of this book, what's gonna happen to you? You're gonna get them plagues. If you take it away, you written out of the book of life. That's a lot of people in the church. There you 2/3 all right there. Because over 2/3 I believe people are in Christianity. And a quarter of them are not Old Testament only. Old Testament only. And it don't work. It just does not work. Now, we're going to put a bookmark on Isaiah chapter 53. Because remember, he was talking about Isaiah. So we're going to put a bookmark on Isaiah 53. Because he was talking about Isaiah. We read it. It said Isaiah. Even Yahweh said Isaiah spoke of him. Moses preached him. That's what they was talking about. And we're gonna go first. Let's go to Jeremiah chapter 2. Jeremiah chapter 2. Put the bookmark on Isaiah 53. We're gonna go to Jeremiah chapter 2. And we're gonna start at 13. And it reads, "For my people have committed two evils. They have forsaken me, the fountain of living waters, and hewed them out cisterns, broken cisterns that can hold no water." And that's what they got. You got the Old Testament Israelites got a hole in their pocket on the right side. The New Testament Israelite got a hole in their pocket on the left side. They can't hold no water. That's why they can't come up against the Israelites that's going with the volume of the book. Because they cisterns to hold no water. They don't get that living water. And if they got the living water, they can't hold it. Is Israel a servant? No, we're a servant. Because we still in servitude. So if you're Old Testament only, I guess that's what we are, just a servant. Is he a homeborn slave? Because if you're in New Testament Christianity, that's all we are, slave. That they calling us what? Gentiles. But if you don't go into the Old Testament, you'll never know who you are. You'll believe what your enemy has told you all the time. Why is he spoiled? Why are we taking in a spoil? And then who spoils us? Why? Jeremiah asked these questions. He see the same thing we see. They don't want to get it. They comfortable with the God they made up in their head. Shalom, Terry. All praises. But they comfortable with that God they made up. It's like the brother we had on Juneteenth. Just made up a God till he said all them scriptures. What I said, well, then if that's the case, you can't be worshiping this one in this Bible because this is going against everything you said. He said, is Israel a servant? You got to ask yourself, old school, Old Testament only. Is that all we are, servants? Because last time I checked, we still servants. We ain't supposed to be. So if it's ended there and all prophecies fulfilled, then guess what? We ended as a servant, according to you. Is he a homeborn slave? See, because if we in the New Testament, we following Christianity, guess what? That's all they told us. We slaves. We homeborn slaves. Is that all we are? Or are we going to take the whole volume of the book and realize we are the people of the Old Testament and the prophecies in the New Testament are for us and nobody else? Being occupied in prophecy. Stay in the same book. Let's go jump up to 17. Hast thou not procured this unto thyself, in that thou hast forsaken the Lord Yahweh when he led thee by the way? And now what hast thou to do in the way of Egypt, to drink the waters of Shihor? Because if you Old Testament only, you still drinking the waters of Egypt. If you New Testament only, you still drinking the waters of Egypt. You don't want to come out. Not the way he said. Y'all MacGyver. Y'all gonna find out. Y'all gonna find a new way, huh? Let me know how that work out for you. Let me know how that come about. Or what has thou to do in the way of Assyria, to drink the waters of the river? You want to go and drink that water, or you want that living water? And we've been drinking everything but the water the Most High gave us. No damn way you can't trust this water now. They got it fluoride all in it, poison. The same poison that they got on the back of the toothpaste package. The same warning. That's what they put in the water. So you keep drinking that and thinking that's going to be all right for you. Thine own wickedness shall correct thee. Your own wickedness is going to correct you. Because you're going to realize you got it wrong. And thy backsliding shall reprove thee. Now therefore, and see that it is an evil thing and bitter that thou hast forsaken the Lord Yahweh, and that my fear is not in thee, said the Lord God of the hosts. See, that's the thing about it. The fear of the Most High ain't in you. Because the fear of the Most High was in you, you accept the whole volume of the book. Both old and new people, New Testament onlys. That's why you don't fear the Most High. You got the Christians scared to go in the Old Testament because they scared of what the consequences of them sinning are stated. The New Testament on it, scared because the prophecies that ought to come and they know they ain't all the way right. It's the sin in you. It's the sin in you. That's what it is. That's what it is. Both sides. Both sides. They made it where it's manageable for what I want to do and how I want to do it. And that's what they've done. They've done that. Our people have done that. Now let's go to Isaiah 53. Let's go to Isaiah 53. Who had believed our report? Who believed the report that the Israelites bringing out? Who believed it? Not many of them believing it. But I thank the Most High that people are waking up. Thank the Most High that people are waking up. Because it's a lot of them that hear this word and they don't want to believe it. It interrupts their life. It interrupts their life. Who have to believe our report? And to whom is the arm of the Lord revealed? Who have the Lord revealed himself to? So a lot of times, if you stopping at the Old Testament, that's because the Lord hadn't revealed himself to you. If you stopping at the New Testament, the Lord hadn't revealed himself to you. You can't get the complete picture. You can't get the complete picture. For he shall grow up before him as a tender plant and as a root out of a dry ground. He had no form, no comeliness. See, that's the thing about it. Everybody thought, want this soul. That's what the Europeans call standard of beauty. So they put that white man up there, and then a lot of the New Testament follow that. Oh, he's pretty. Man, that's an ugly dog on the picture. That ain't nothing but an ugly dog. And when we shall see him, there is no beauty that we should desire him. And that's one thing about it. Even when the prophecies and the Pharisees and Sadducees, when he appeared to them, they were like, man, this can't be the dude. This dude ain't no handsome dude. Nah, he a regular dude. That's a lot of times y'all, when we on the streets, they don't want to hear us. Man, that ain't no Michael Jordan speaking. That ain't no Dwayne Wade. That ain't no T.D. Jakes. And that's what he looked like with them. He is despised and rejected of men, a man of sorrows and acquainted with grief, and we hid as it were our faces from him. He was despised and we esteemed him not. And that we hid it if he was our faces from him. We hide from him. Old Testament only hide from him. They don't believe the report of what the Bible is saying. They didn't. The Pharisees and the high priest didn't believe the report when he was telling them. You the same way. You the same person. You doing the same thing. That's because a lot of you just might be these Pharisees regenerated. You didn't believe the report. You don't believe it now. And we hear it as it with our faces from him. As it with our face. You know how most of us, boy, we don't never want to look in that mirror, because that mirror shows who you really are. We point and look at everybody else in their face, but then look at the man in the mirror. We don't hide. You know, we don't never want to check ourselves, but we like to check everybody else. That's how we hide from Yahweh Shah. He was despised and we esteemed him not. Surely he had borne our griefs and carried our sorrows. Yet we did esteem him stricken, smitten of Yahweh, and afflicted. And that's exactly what we're doing today. When you're saying that you only Old Testament, you're afflicting him. When you say you New Testament only, you're afflicting him, because you hadn't really learned it. So you lying and bringing up other stuff, these little scriptures that we learned in the church. And then the Old Testament Israelites who come in don't even want to accept him to this day. You afflicted him to this day. But he was wounded for our transgressions. He was bruised for our iniquities. The chastisement of our peace was upon him, and with him stripes, with his stripes we were healed. That's how we was able to go back to Yahweh. So a lot of times, if you ain't accepting the blood that he shed for you, you ain't going back to Yahweh. You don't believe in him. You don't believe the God of this Bible. You're a lie. And I'm going to tell you straight to your face. You're a lie. Call the number if you got a problem with that. Email us if you got a problem with that. You a lie. Because that's what he did all this for us, and here y'all are afflicting him again. Because you're disobedient, rebellious, stubborn, full of pride, getting tossed back to and fro with every wind of doctrine. Because your Old Testament only was in the truth. A lot of y'all was in the truth. Then I'm getting out. I just want to believe this part. And your New Testament only never been taught the Old Testament, so you just don't believe what the pastor told you. And you can't understand this. Who is this if you New Testament only? How do you know? Because this is explaining who the Messiah was going to be. But you can't recognize him because you ain't even reading the prophecies and who it says he's going to be. So who are you following if you're not following the one out of the Old Testament that the prophets are prophesying about? You can't be. You can't be following the one of the Bible if you don't go back and get the description, if you don't go back and get the things that was going to happen to him. You don't know who you follow. We didn't know who we was following. We was following the crap out that white man. Till we realized, man, that's our enemy. That ain't nothing but the devil. That's what you're doing today. You following Satan, Satan, the devil, which has the spirit of prophecy, the old Edomite, that old devil, that old Cain, that old Nimrod. That's who you're following today. But he was wounded for our transgression. He was bruised for our sins. The chastisement of our peace was upon him. If you Old Testament only, who was this dude? Who is he? Who is he that got bruised like this? Let me know. Put it in the comments. I hope that the people online ain't even about that. So if that's the case, I want y'all to, hey, send the video to somebody who don't believe. Send the video to a Christian. Send it to your mama. Send it to your daddy, your brother, your sister, your friends, your homeboy, everybody that was at the Juneteenth parties. Send it to them. That way you ain't even got to take it. I got you back. All I'm going to do is get the person who got my back, this Bible. Because we're going to preach what this Bible say. From the front to the back. Like they say, from the rooter to the tutor. all we like sheep have gone astray. We have turned everyone to his own way. And that's what we done. I'm a New Testament only. I'm an Old Testament only. We done went our own way. Instead of staying on the straight path that the Most High told us to stay on. If you was never on it, you was in Christianity, you need to get on the path. See, a lot of times y'all got that pride on you, and you think you know so much about the church and how this Christianity run that you don't want to understand that you got to go back and throw all that junk away and start over. You know, because you done became a deacon of the church now. You over the children's ministry, or you over the married couple ministry, or you over the church fund ministry. And then you got to throw all that away. You don't want to. That pride holding you back. And you stubborn New Old Testament only. You don't even know who the prophecy is about. You stopped at Malachi. And if according to you, the prophecies came to pass, then guess what? This is an awful job he did. And this is our last stand. This is our last state. This is it. Being a slave, being a servant. Ain't nowhere in the world I live a life like that. Ain't nowhere in the world I live a life like that. I'm just a slave. That's it. I'm just a heathen. I'm just a Gentile. All the suffering and pain that we went through, all the suffering and pain Yahushua went through for us. But we want to walk back in it. We want to walk back in it. And we have turned everyone to his own way. And the Lord had laid on him the iniquity of us all. He was oppressed and he was afflicted. See, a lot of times y'all don't think oppression and think about it. The Romans was just over us, just like these goddamn Edomites are over us today. This same Roman Empire over us today. These times, those times are just like the times we living in right today. But y'all like to see it as old. That's old. That's old times. Still the same story. This still the same story. Sometimes you got to push rewind and go back and see what it was talking about. You know, somebody was over talking too loud. You missed it. Go back and read it. And you'll get this whole movie. Because you living in that movie now. You are those people now that were disobedient. You still part of that same book. This same book. He was oppressed and he was afflicted, yet he opened not his mouth. He didn't open his mouth. He didn't open his mouth. He is brought as a lamb to the slaughter, and he as a sheep before his shearers is dumb. He as a sheep before his shearers is dumb. So he opened not his mouth. He was taken from prison and from judgment, and whom shall declare his generation? He was taken from prison. Who is this guy that y'all talking about in the Old Testament that's supposed to have already came or whatever? Who is this guy? Or we still got to wait for him to go back, come back and do this again? In order for us to believe the Bible or believe the New Testament? And who is this guy if you're the New Testament that you won't know who he was, so you wouldn't even know that he had to go through these things and why he went through these things and who he went through these things for. You can't tell until you go back to the prophecy. So you just believe whatever they told you. We all did. Christianity. The majority of us grew up in Christianity and believed they report. But we never looked at the report. We just believe what they said is in the report. That's why a lot of us sign bad contracts today because we never read it. We just believe what they told us. Then get mad because things hadn't worked out right. But the contract said this. Then we, well, it was in small letters. Well, you still can read. Put these ugly glasses on like I got you. You can see it. You can see it. He said he was taken from prison from judgment, and whom shall declare his generation? For he is cut off out of the land of the living. He died for the transgressions of my people was he stricken. Not everybody, people. That's why that's why the New Testament don't want to go back into the Old Testament, because the white man want to include everybody. But the Old Testament only include who? Israel. The New Testament only include Israel. But they like to move around that part and find the parts that's suitable for everybody. Because we love our enemy. We stuck in Stockholm syndrome. He said, my people. And he had his grave with the wicked. He was put in the grave with people that wasn't even in the truth. People that wasn't keeping the commandments. And with the rich in his death. He didn't even have his own tombstone. The king didn't even have his own tombstone. David had his own tombstone. Solomon had his own tombstone. Saul even had his own tombstone. But here the king didn't have his own tombstone. They put him in the usual. I'm going to borrow this. Put this body up in there. Because he had done no violence, neither was any deceit in his mouth. Tell me who did that? Old Testament only. Who is this man that's talking about? New Testament only. How you know if the God you follow, if you don't go back and see the prophecy that was supposed to be coming beforehand? How you gonna know? Who you follow? That Caesar Borgia, that picture, that dude, that white dude, is that the guy I'm talking about? Let me know in the history of any time a white man ever died for us. He might have been out there with us, but he wasn't. His mission wasn't the same mission as ours. Yet it pleased the Lord to bruise him. He had put him to grief when thou shalt make his soul an offering for sin. That's what like the brother tried to say. But we could just sit up there and say, God, forgive me. And no, you had to have blood to atone for those sins. Who was that? This is in the Old Testament. So you skip this part. I forgot the name they say. I remember it was a while back since I heard the name. They be telling us, this is such and such. No, we have no evidence of that. None. He shall prolong his days. He shall see his seed. He shall prolong his days, and the pleasure of the Lord shall prosper in his hand. He shall see the travail of his soul, and he shall be satisfied. By his knowledge shall my righteous servant justify many, for he shall bear their iniquities. Who bears yours, Old Testament only? And who are you claiming, New Testament only, that bears yours? Who are you claiming? If you don't go back and get the description, get the prophecy of who this person is supposed to be. So you're just following anything. Because it sounds good. You can do as you will. That's not Yahweh Shah. That's Aleister Crowley. You can go down over in D.C. They got a statue of him. Devil worshiper, Satanist. But you'll believe that. You'll believe that report, but you won't believe this Bible. You won't believe this Bible. Let's go to Psalms 110 and 1. Psalms 110. Chapter 1. It's for you Old Testament only. And you New Testament only. The Lord said unto my Lord, sit thou at my right hand until I make thy enemies thy footstool. And the brother said, he said, the brother said, that was his songwriter. No, that is a Psalm of David. It ain't got nothing to do. It said the Psalm of David. Not his songwriter, not a scribe. David wrote this. The Lord said unto my Lord, the Lord, the capital Lord said unto my Lord, the capital L, sit thou on my right hand. So for you New Testament Israelites, that's letting you know straight off the top. They not the same. If I'm sitting here and he's sitting right here, it's not the same. Sit thou at my right hand. Who is that Old Testament? Who is that New Testament? Both of y'all don't know. Neither one of you got it right. If this was the SAT, you failed. You should just call it the SIT and sit your butt down, man. You got it wrong. You got it wrong. Matthew 22:4. We're going to say the same thing to the New Testament side. Matthew 22:44. I'm going to read that 43. He said unto them, now I start at 41. While the Pharisees was gathered together, Yahushua asked them, saying, what think ye of Christ? What you think of Christ? Whose son is he? Whose son is he? Christ asking that. But according to the New Testament, like, oh, they're the same people. But then did y'all skip this? Or did y'all not understand it if you came but you read it? Because it's saying the same thing that David was talking about. And he's finna explain. While the Pharisees was gathered together, Yahushua asked them, saying, what think ye of Christ? Whose son is he? They say unto him, the son of David. He said unto them, how then did David in spirit call him Lord, saying, the Lord said unto my Lord, sit thou at my right hand till I make thy enemies thy footstool. So you got to go in the Old Testament and figure out what David said that, and when David said it, and why David said it. And if you're an Old Testament Israelite, you got to go in the New Testament and figure out, well, who David Lord? Who is David Lord? What does that mean? So it takes the volume of the book to get an understanding whether you're Old Testament or New Testament. You got to go into the book backwards and forward to get this understanding of what it's talking about. To get this understanding of what it's talking about. So let's go to Zephaniah. Let's go back into the Old Testament. And we're going to start at chapter 1 and go to chapter 1, verse 7. It says, hold thy peace at the presence of the Lord Yahweh, for the day of the Lord is at hand. For the Lord had prepared a sacrifice. He had bid his guests. It shall come to pass in the day of the Lord's sacrifice that I will punish the princes and the king's children and all such that are clothed with strange apparel. It says right there, it says, for the day of the Lord is at hand, for the Lord had prepared a sacrifice. Who was the sacrifice? Who? Old Testament only, who? Who gave you your salvation if it wasn't from the New Testament Messiah? Y'all got to explain that. In the same day also will I punish those that leap on the threshold which fill their master's house with violence and deceit. Your enemies. Who's going to fight your enemies? Because right now we're in a state of fighting each other. We're killing our own military. And it shall come to pass in that day, said the Lord, that there shall be a noise of a cry from the fish gate, and a howling from the second, and a great crashing from the hills. Howl, ye inhabitants of Machish, for all the merchants people are cut down. All that bear the silver are cut off. Everybody that's prospering off of the United States is going to be cut off. Like I told y'all, they go by the law of water. That's what they go by. How the inhabitants of Machish, for all the merchants people are cut down. They merchants. Them ships crossing that water on a daily basis. They money coming from them ships. Why do you think you see them ships with so many crates on them? You didn't order it off Facebook. Came from China. If you ever tracked it. And it said, and it shall come to pass that at that time that I will search Jerusalem with candles and punish the men that are settled on their leaves, that say in their heart, the Lord will not do good, neither will he do evil. Thinking the Most High ain't gonna do nothing. You settled on your ways. You settled on the Old Testament. You settled on the New Testament. And you don't think the Most High gonna do nothing. But he is. He is. Therefore, their goods shall become a booty, and their houses a desolation. And a lot of times, Old Testament people don't want Yahweh Shah to come back. They doing good. They got a good job. They got a nice Mercedes. They got a nice little Mercedes truck or this car, that car, a boat. I got a house. I got a wife. I got all this stuff. They don't want the Yahweh Shah to come back. Don't let them fool you. The majority of people in the church, especially the pastors, don't want Yahweh Shah coming back. Because all their stuff will be gone. And they'll be laying in that pit. They don't want him to come back. And they don't think he is. They think it's just like the brother said. The prophecies had to happen. You wait after each other. They didn't take this long. Now you done put a time on the Most High God. You got to be out your mind. Because guess what? The wicked Negroes, these wicked people put a time on the God. They don't think it's going to happen. It's been too long. It ain't nothing happening. We've been doing this. They've been doing this and getting away with it. We might as well join and do what they doing, learn how they making all their money, and we need to do the same thing. But that's not going to happen. You go ahead and get caught up. Get stuck on their ways. Don't think your house shot going to return. Don't think the Most High ain't going to say your house shot it's that time. Go ahead. Go get your people. He said, they shall also build houses, but no inhabit them. They shall plant vineyards, but not drink the wine thereof. The great day of the Lord is near, and has it greatly. Even the voice of the day of the Lord. The mighty man shall cry there bitterly. Yeah, the mighty men, these strong men, this military gonna cry bitterly. When is this gonna happen? Well, we see it in Revelation, in the New Testament. But you can't see it because you don't believe it. You can't believe what you believe in the New Testament because you ain't even read it when they said it in the Old Testament. So you don't even know what the report is. You just going off of what somebody told you. You can't understand what you're reading when you're reading Revelation. That's why y'all don't touch Revelation. That's why the pastor don't bother with Revelation. He won't bother with the mark of the beast. He won't bother with these things that's going to happen. He won't bother with these bombs that's finna drop in 1 hour. He got you thinking you got all the time in the world. But when that horn get to blowing, see what you do then. You're going to be thinking it's a tornado. Some of y'all going to think it's a hurricane. No. It's the missiles coming. It says, why all the brown men don't marry his brown sister. And that's on them. What they got to do with anything? And some of you brown sisters need to get in the truth and start doing right. But that gives no excuse for our people to marry other people, though. Sometimes it's just best to just be like Paul, man. Just don't even mess with none of them until you find one. But our sisters run around acting like they doing everything right. They not, and you see it. Got that new song, Pound Town. Play that song, they going crazy over. I just watched that the other day. Said, God dang. Then I'm wife material. Is you crazy? You crazy? I wouldn't even let you marry my damn dog. Yeah, lost place. I'm sorry, my bad. That day is a day of wrath, a day of trouble and distress, a day of wasteness and desolation, a day of darkness and gloominess, a day of clouds and thick darkness, a day of a trumpet and alarm against the fenced city and against high towers. So y'all ain't gonna know what happened if you only read the bottom of the half of the book. You ain't gonna read that the New Testament is saying the same stuff. The Old Testament, the New Testament only people, you ain't gonna understand that they've been saying this. They confirming it. 2 or more witnesses on these things. You got one witness and you just believe what it's saying, don't even understand what it's saying. What scripture you reading? Yeah, right now I'm in Zephaniah 1, and right now I just was finished 15. I started at Zephaniah and I went from 7, and right now I'm at 15 now, 16 now. A day of a trumpet and alarm against the fenced city and against the high towers. 17. And I will bring distress upon men, and they shall walk like blind men, because they have sinned against the Lord. And that's what a lot of times, that's what y'all, you're in sin, and that's why you're walking around like blind men. I don't believe the New Testament because you're blind and you can't see. I don't believe the Old Testament because you're blind and you can't see. And you won't humble yourself to realize that. It's one thing I don't like. Negroes don't hang around me if you can't admit when you're wrong. But our people don't even want to admit when they're wrong. We can't do it. We got excuse after excuse after excuse after excuse. If you can't admit you're wrong, man, that's last person, man. You can go ahead and keep on walking. Don't hang over here. Yes, Treely, I did say that. Because our women are out of order. Until they get back in order, yes. I wouldn't let them marry my dog. Not these hardy women. When these women step up and be righteous, they are worthy to be married. But the ones that don't, and the majority of our women are not. Even the Bible asks, who can find a virtuous woman? Like they just are everywhere. No, Some hard to find, take work to go get. They ain't just running around all over the place. Someone marry me for what? For what? I will bring distress upon men, and they shall walk like blind men, because they have sinned against the Lord. And their blood shall be poured out as dust, and their flesh as dung. Neither their silver nor their gold shall be able to deliver them in the day of the Lord's wrath. But the whole land shall be devoured, and by fire of his jealousy, for he shall make even a speedy riddance of all them that dwell in the land. And the Most High is telling us things that are going to happen in the future. But if you're in the Old Testament, you ain't going to know nothing about what's going to be happening. If you're in the New Testament, you ain't heard it yet. Because you ain't read that part. Remember, you started in the middle of the movie. That's a lie. We are women of Judah. If you're a woman of Judah, then that's and if you're doing the keeping the commandments and ready to submit to your man, then yes, you are married. But all black women aren't doing what they're supposed to be doing. Now y'all be on this old woman stuff, and that ain't what you're supposed to be doing. I'm talking to this girl Trelili, whatever that name is. Whole different subject, and you won't hear of you. That means you ain't listened to the class. If you're doing right by the Most High, I'm sure the Most High will give you a husband. Oh, it says she the one with a white husband. Oh my goodness. She got a white husband and looking for somebody to marry. Man, you ought to go on somewhere else. Go to another channel or something, man. All this, it's a whole lot of more stuff on YouTube. This ain't for you. And believe me, I'll do a class on that. Why you married a white man? How about that? What I lie about, Trelili? What I lie about? What I lie about? See how stupid it is? That's why, see, you just bringing up, saying stuff that ain't true. But at the same time, you call me a liar, but then you talking about marrying. Hell no. Roscoe, get away from her. No, No, Roscoe, leave her alone. Leave her alone. Kick out your doghouse. Kick out your doghouse. She over there messing with them cats. She over there messing with them cats. Roscoe, leave her alone. Let me get back to where I was, man. Let's go to Luke chapter 21, verse 20. Jeff and I were talking about the destruction of Israel. So here you go. And you got to go to the New Testament and see Yahweh was telling them the same thing. And if you're a New Testament, you're supposed to be a historian and going through the history, then therefore you would have known this. But you got to go to the New Testament in order to get it. But if you don't believe the New Testament, you ain't going to get it. What was that, Donovan? Ezekiel 23. Let me get that first before we go there. Let me get that first. Ezekiel chapter 23 and 1. And it reads, the word of the Lord came again unto me, saying, Son of man, there were two women, the daughters of one mother, and they committed whoredoms in Egypt, and they committed whoredoms in their youth. There were their breast pressed, and there they bruised the teats of their virginity. They went to whoring around, and the names of them were Oholah the elder and Oholabah the sister. This is talking about the northern kingdom and the southern kingdom. Is what that's going into. Let's see. 36, 37. The Lord said, moreover unto me, Son of man, without judge Aholabah, yea, declare unto them their abomination. They have committed adultery, the blood is in their hands, and with their idols have they committed adultery, and have also called their sons, whom they bear unto me, to pass for them through the fire to devour them. And that's the thing about it. We learn the lessons off our forefathers what did wrong, and we pass that down to our children. But instead of passing the right things down that we're supposed to be doing, we hadn't been passing that down. Therefore, we're causing our children and the future generations to pass through the same fire we went through, that we were passed through. I got you, Damon. Just want to hit that on, went ahead and went through that. But this is about the northern and the southern kingdom. So let's go back to Luke chapter 21, verse 20 through 24. That's what we're going to go. And when ye shall see Jerusalem compassed with armies, then know that the desolation thereof is nigh. And that's what Zephaniah was talking about. But you ain't Old Testament, you ain't gonna see it because you stopped. You stopped. So you would have never took heed to the warning. You would have never knew what he was talking about because you never went, I'm not going to the Old Testament. I don't do the New Testament. And then the reason you don't do it because you learn the New Testament from that so-called white man. That's all you heard your life. Then you became an Israelite and realized I'm just Old Testament only because you learned the wrong teachings about the New Testament. You learn the wrong teachings about the New Testament. So now you don't want to believe it. And you New Testament, y'all just scared of the Old Testament because that means all the bull crap you thought you was getting away with, you ain't gonna get away with it. Shalom, Ray and Brandon, all praises. But man, you thought you was gonna get away with it, but you ain't getting away with it. And you're mad, you're upset. Then let them which are in Judea flee to the mountains, and let them which are in the midst of it depart out, and let not them that are in the country enter therein too. For these be the days of vengeance, that all things which are written may be fulfilled. But woe unto them that are with the child, and to them that give suck in those days, for there shall be a great distress in the land, and wrath upon this people. And they shall fall by the edge of the sword, and shall be led away captives into all nations. And Jerusalem shall be trodden down of the Gentiles, until the Gentiles be fulfilled. That's a prophecy right there. You New Testament people you're not gonna get because you ain't read it yet. And guess what? The Gentiles are still fulfilled in that land until the Gentiles is fulfilled. And if you think everything's been prophesied, boy, y'all way off. Way off. It's giving an ending right there to the time of the Gentiles. But you Old Testament people couldn't know that. Couldn't possibly see that. Because you had to go to the New Testament to see this thing that Zephaniah was talking about. Then here we are in Luke in the New Testament giving us more detail, giving us more understanding of that day at that time when it happened. And yes, that came to pass. But it also said we'd be scattered until the time of the Gentiles. Now what are we waiting on Joshua to get us out of this? That wasn't prophesied in the Old Testament. But y'all say Deuteronomy 18 and 15 through 18 is talking about Joshua. Joshua just brought us into a land. He never did anything to bring us out. And he was talking about being like Moses. Moses brought us out. Joshua took us in. How is that talking about comparing Joshua to Moses? Because you don't even understand your Old Testament. That's what the problem is. You can't understand it because you got half a book. And the New Testament can't understand it because they read the other half of the book. So now we got two lost people that's got so much pride that they can't understand that they got to go through the bottom of the book to come out of it to get what they need to learn. The Gentiles that's going to be grafted in is the northern kingdom that was broken off. You don't know nothing truly. You don't have no clue. You just trying to justify why you got that damn devil sitting in your house. And when he tired of your ass, when y'all go fishing, I warn you, don't go fishing. He the only one gonna come back. Him and some catfish. You gonna be at the bottom of the lake. you with. When they tired of you, they kill you. Check your history. Trelili. You ain't walking in the spirit of this Bible. Deuteronomy 7:3, or where it says stick with your own race. You will have no inheritance. Because you got a Gentile in you. That man can't have no inheritance. So where you gonna be? Lay your bed with him? Because he gonna be in that slave. He gonna be out in that cotton field, picking cotton. You gonna be with him? I could use another slave. I could use another slave. You can sit up there and get all that, clean my toenails and stuff while he out there in that cotton field. When he get a whooping, you get one too. How about that? Talking about these Gentiles. That don't make no damn sense, truly. That's the damn devil. That's the one that did the evil on us. Why would I go to the kingdom and he next to me? And we're going to be fighting in the kingdom if that's the case. Because I'm getting my lick back. We getting our lick back. We might not get it right now while he in his kingdom, but we getting our lick back. I'll be damned if he's sitting next to me in the kingdom. He ain't letting us sit next to him in his kingdom. Yeah, boy, I tell you, wow, you gonna make me do another class. I might turn this one off and go on that one. I got a lot of scriptures to put for you. I got a lot of them. That's why he called them dogs. And that's why I said, shoot, I wouldn't let my dog marry you. But you did the right thing. You went and married another dog. Yeah, I can't wait to get my slaves neither, Berakaya. She don't know who she talking to. I'm not your pastor. I'm not going to let you come sit on the front row of our school with that damn devil. So I'm going to tell you like on something going. You had that white man on the cross. Let him come up in there with us. We'll put him on the cross. But right now, we can't do no violence. But boy, when that time comes, we getting our lick back. And he's throwing me off, man. Let me get back on my class and leave that dumb girl alone. And yes, I said dumb girl alone. Dumb with the capital D. Dumb girl. Stupid as can be. Boy, I bet you Run DMC, you was probably on the album cover. Let's go to Daniel chapter 9 and verse 25. Know therefore and understand that from the going forth of the commandments to restore and build Jerusalem unto the Messiah, the prince shall be 7 weeks and 62 weeks, and the street shall be built again, and the wall, even in the troublous times. And after 60, that's where your goddamn husband truly coming in right there. He got to build these walls, and we ain't letting him have no slack. We might not even get him no water. If he thirsty, we might spit in his mouth. The prince says, it said, and after 62 weeks shall the Messiah be cut off, but not for himself. And the people of the prince that shall come shall destroy the city and the sanctuary, and the end thereof shall be with the flood, and unto the end of war desolations are determined. Daniel prophesied this. Daniel prophesied about the Messiah just a second ago. So who are y'all talking about this person is? When are these times going to happen? You got to go to the New Testament to figure this stuff out. You can't if you don't go to the New Testament. And if you in the New Testament only, you can't understand this if you don't go to the Old Testament and get Daniel's prophecies. Talking about what's coming at this time. There you go. Damon tell you, truly, go read that. Guess what? If you marry this strange woman, your offspring is not Israelite. What? Are you stupid? See, that's what happens when you marry outside the race. You just become stupid. You done put some chromosomes. I bet y'all got some dumbass kids. I mean, stupid. White man instilled in you some stupid stuff. He's stupid as hell. He the bottom. He the base people. You got a stupid ass husband, and you finna have some stupid ass babies. Yeah, they need to leave them dogs alone, Yaakov. But only thing is, his seed is the seed, so he will have Israelite babies. That girl gonna have some goddamn devil. Excuse my language. That's all she get. You can't marry the enemy and call them Israelites. But you did. What is you talking about, man? See how that's what I figure, man. God, man, y'all leave these damn Gentiles alone, man. Y'all leave these people alone, man. Because God dang it, they have no clue what they talking about. And when we read this Daniel, man, it's talking about the 350 years that we've been in captivity. But I was just getting that out because it's talking about these future prophecies in Daniel. So the Old Testament Israelites can't even understand this thing because they don't go to the New Testament. Because the New Testament tell us when we was gonna be going in at that time. Oh boy. Yeah, you're right, Chili C. Boy, Esau got her bugged out. She just trying to justify why she with that devil. She just trying to justify. What you need to do is tell that goddamn devil to start washing himself with a washcloth. Tell him his hands is not doing nothing. I bet you Harry, you got to shave his back every goddamn night. Goddamn cave beast. You want to get the best out of your Edomite, take him to the cave. He will perform very well eating juniper roots. Take him to the cave and watch. You'll see him do all his tricks. Let's go to Daniel chapter 12. You can make him turn over, roll over, all that stuff. He'll do all the tricks. You just got to take him to the cave. Daniel chapter 12, verse 7. And I heard the man clothed in linen, which was upon the waters of the river, when he held his right hand and his left hand unto heaven, and swear by him, and liveth forever, that it shall be for a time, times and a half. And when he shall have accomplished to scatter the power of the holy people, all these things shall be finished. And I heard, but I understood not. Then said I, O Lord, O my Lord, what shall be the end of these things? And he said, go thy way, Daniel, for thy words are closed up and sealed to the time of the end. He's letting you know what's going to be happening in the future, but you can't get the future until you read the future, which is the other half of the book. And that's why when y'all talk, when you going through the Revelations, You people can't understand because you don't go and precept it with Daniel. Meaning you got to go to the Old Testament. Meaning you got to go to the Old Testament to get these things. The book works for us. It's a clear picture for us. Using the volume of the book. It's a clear picture. Straight and narrow, to the point, solid. I don't know what that road y'all walking down on. It ain't the same one we walking down on. Because the one we walking down on is this whole volume of the book. It's not one part and this other part. What y'all got is potholes in y'all lawn. We walking down a straight and narrow path. It's nice and clear. It ain't the easy way to go. It ain't the most popular way to go. But it's the way to go. The only way to get there. It's the way to go. Many shall be purified and made white and tried, but the wicked shall do wickedly. And none of the wicked shall understand, but the wise shall understand. The wise men shall understand. The people that do the volume of the book, they gonna understand it. Like I said, it's easy, straight and narrow, clear when you get your eyes open. But you can't get your eyes open if you only on half of the book. You can't understand if you only read half of the book. You can't see it if you're only reading half of the book. Let's go to Deuteronomy chapter 4, verse 6. And Trillili, I would love to have that discussion with you, but right now I got a class I'm trying to get through. Our people who want to learn, they're here to learn. Yes, Trillili, the man's seed can be with any, it don't matter. Y'all are the fertile ground. Wherever the man planted his seed, the seed is what it is. So y'all, see, now you want to be like the man. You mad at God because you can't be, you want to be something that he done told you you're not. He made you a woman. Now you want to be like the man. We not the same. He made us two totally different creatures. You male, we female. It don't work that way. I know you're trying to make it that way. But guess what? Just go ahead. If you're going to have them devil-ass babies, go ahead. Go ahead and make them devil eggs. Go ahead. And you're making it with rotten eggs, man. You're making it with rotten eggs. Deuteronomy chapter 4, verse 6. Keep therefore and do them, for this is your wisdom and your understanding in the sight of the other nations, which shall hear all these statutes and say, surely this great nation is a wise and understanding people. That's what happens when you got to keep these laws, statutes, commandments. And that right there is to do New Testament people. If you don't kill to the Old Testament, don't be talking about you wise. You got wisdom. I'm going to tell you straight out the Bible, just like the Bible says, you don't got no wisdom. You're dumb. You Hosea 4 and 1. Better yet, let's get that. And Cholili, next Burnt Toast Tuesday, I'm going to give you the smoke. I'm going to give you all that. We're going to do just that class on that. I'm going to give you that. So you can come in. Make sure you tune in next Tuesday. Burnt Toast Tuesday is for you, Trillili, and all you goddamn people that's going after these damn devils. Yep. Hosea 4:1. Hear the word of the Lord, ye children of Israel, for the Lord had a controversy with the inhabitants of the land. Y'all inhabit the land? Guess what? The Most High got a controversy with the land. Because there is no truth, nor mercy, nor knowledge of God in the land. Ain't none. Don't be telling me you got wisdom. You got to understand it because you following your damn enemy instead of doing what the Most High God said. Oh, I know. We New Testament, no, that Old Testament done away with. Read that again, and we're going to read it in 4 and 6. Keep therefore and do them, for this is the wisdom of your understanding in the sight of the nation. Why y'all can't understand it? This is why you can't. You can't understand the scriptures. You ain't got no wisdom. I'm looking at Israelites all over the world, man, who ain't had nothing. They ain't go to college. They ain't go to no theology school. Smarter and will blow out any man with a PhD or any other doctrine or degree that they got. Tearing them up, whipping them, making the rabbis cry, making the rabbis tell the truth, making the rabbis say, man, they got something. Yeah, that's what that needs to happen. Tralili needs to come back on, divorce that damn devil. Divorce him. Don't have no babies with that man. I'm trying to tell you. I'm trying to tell you. At least the black man will divorce you, the white man will kill you. I don't know which one you like. You shouldn't like neither one, but God dang it, don't trust that damn devil. He said, I'm here to learn. So who are the Gentiles? The Gentiles are the northern kingdom. The Gentiles are the northern kingdom that was calling themselves Gentiles. Like I said, I have to go off this subject right here in order to teach y'all. It would be nice if y'all came on here and you listening to the class and ask questions according to what the class is going on. Instead of coming on here and interrupting the class by going to what you want to go to. That's selfish. That's pride that y'all in stubbornness. Because y'all gotta have some kind of decorum. I know y'all wasn't raised that way. I know you wouldn't. Come on, man. Y'all gotta do better than that, man. There you go. Damien, read what Barakah just put, 1 Corinthians 12 and 2. We'll do that too. We got classes. You just got to go through the videos. We got tons of classes on that. But you know what? I'll do this. Because y'all ain't doing them and making it nice and easy for me. Tralili. Yeah, what is that? Tralili. And we got to do marriages of these other strange women and these strange men. And then we got Damien. Damien, I'll give you and let you know which one I'm doing first. Let me see. Let me see how you make sure I spell your name. And you want to go over a class over Gentiles. Who are the Gentiles? Even though we did these classes before, but hey, I don't mind going back over them. I'm just not going to get to them tonight. Okay, Damien, I'm going to have you covered. Add me tons list first, please. I don't understand that question. Great edification on the Juneteenth upload. All praises. We love brown women. That's what we do love. Is she trying to say we don't marry? I know everybody in our camp, all of them married to a brown woman. It ain't the Edomite running around that mud. If he did, he wouldn't be in our camp. So that's you and the cats you deal with. But let's go. Got me all caught up. Deuteronomy Deuteronomy chapter 34, and let's go verse 9. And Joshua, the son of Nun, was full of the spirit of wisdom, for Moses had laid his hand upon him, and the children of Israel hearkened unto him, and did as the Lord commanded Moses. It was a spirit that what? Ooh, because we read that in what's name? We read that in Revelations. When Moses laid his hand upon Joshua, and the children of Israel hearkened unto him, and did as the Lord commanded. Now y'all done gave the credit from who it really is talking about. He laid his hand and the spirit came on him, right? Let's go back to Revelations, and that will be 22. Revelation, let's see. 22. What was that? Let's see. 19. Yeah, 19:10. Yes, 19 and 10. Revelation 19 and 10. We already read this. I want y'all to see, because let's read this over here. Let me show you something. And Joshua the son of Nun was full of the spirit of wisdom, for Moses had laid his hand upon him, and the children of Israel hearkened unto him, and did as the Lord commanded Moses. Moses laid, he said, the spirit of wisdom. Let's go over here. Revelation 19:10. And I fell at his feet to worship him. And he said unto me, see that I do it not. I am thy fellow servant and of thy brethren, the same one that was prophesied in the Old Testament, that have the testimony of Yahushua. Worship Yahweh. For the testimony of Yahushua is the spirit of prophecy. That spirit that he was laying his hands on, he gave him the spirit of Yahushua. He gave him the spirit of Yahushua. So reason Joshua was doing what Moses had told him, what there was none like him, because the spirit of Yahushua was upon Joshua. So y'all take the credit from your king and give it to the common man, which I can't say he's common, but he's just a man. He wasn't the king. He took us in the land. Until he bring us out, and it be Joshua. And you ain't get me to believe the bull crap that you done made up. Moses was a so-called black man, and so was his of a different tribe. His wife of a different tribe. So what? When Moses was out there, who was he? Who else was around for him to marry besides the damn Ethiopian? Lady, please. You can't justify that damn devil. Moses is a man, you are a woman. You can't compare yourself to him. He has a seed. You are fertile ground. It's not the same. Golly. I know you want to justify that damn devil. The best thing you can do is go run to the damn judge and tell him to get this guy doing paper. Sign this paper. Sign this paper. God gave Miriam skin vitiligo. Oh, golly. Because she got mad at her skin color. Man, lady, shut up. I'm going to leave you alone. Like I said, I'll do a class strictly for you. You come back next week, and I got you. I got you. But where we at? Deuteronomy 34 and 9. had his hand laid upon him, and it said, and Joshua the son of Nun was full of the spirit of wisdom. And for Moses had laid his hands upon him, and the children of Israel hearkened unto him, and did as the Lord commanded Moses. And we went through that. That was that spirit that he laid when he laid his hand. Now, I want to get to this too. Joshua chapter 24, verse 26. Joshua chapter 24, verse 26. And Joshua wrote these words in the book of the law of God, and took a great stone and set it up there under an oak that was by the sanctuary of the Lord. And Joshua said unto all the people, behold, this stone shall be a witness unto us, for it had heard all the words of the Lord which he spake unto us. It shall be therefore a witness unto you, lest ye deny your God. Lest ye deny your God. So Joshua let the people depart, every man unto his inheritance. And it came to pass after these things that Joshua the son of Nun, the servant of the Lord, died, being 110 years old. And they buried him in the border of his inheritance in Timnath Serah, which is in Mount Ephraim, on the north side of the hill of Gash. And Israel served the Lord all the days of Joshua and all the days of the elders that overlived Joshua, and which had known all the works of the Lord that he had done for Israel. And the bones of Joshua, which the children of Israel brought up out of Egypt, buried they in Shechem. The bones, they buried them. The bones, they buried them. He did not rise again. He did not ascend into the heavens. In the parcel of ground which Jacob bought of the sons of Hamor, the father of Shechem, for 100 pieces of silver, and it became an inheritance of the children of Joseph. And that's another thing right there, is telling you that he didn't have a sanctuary of sinners. He wasn't buried in that. He had a place that was already bought and prepared. So that Messiah is talking about is not the same one that y'all talking about. Joshua's not him. The one Isaiah talking about. Joshua is not him. So you can bury that story with something else, because that right there don't hold up. Y'all know that don't hold up in the court. Ephesians, let's go to Ephesians chapter 4, verse 10. He that descended into the same also that ascended up from above all heavens, that he might fill all things. And he gave some apostles and some prophets and some evangelists and some pastors and some teachers for the perfecting of the saints. He gave us different ministries to go into in this one body. But it was the guy that was ascended, the one that went down into the grave, and the one that came out the grave. This one. And you Old New Testament don't know nothing about him because you ain't went back into the Old Testament. You Old Testament don't know nothing about it because you can't understand Isaiah because you hadn't went into the New Testament. So neither one of y'all know who you worshiping. Neither one of y'all. Till we all come into the unity of the faith and of the knowledge of the Son of Yahweh. Crack the Son of Yahweh. I don't even understand how you New Testament people just don't get that. Oh, they're the same people. That don't make no sense. He already ascended up there. Why ain't he saying that's God? Why is he still saying it's the Son of God? And this is y'all Messiah, Paul. He's telling you he's the Son of God. He's not telling you he's God. But apparently y'all done made him say it. Y'all done added, remember? Y'all gonna be taking, no, y'all taking out and adding. Y'all getting them both, plagues and taking out the book of life. Till we all come to the unity of the faith and knowledge of the Son of God, unto a perfect man, unto the measure of the stature of the fullness of Christ, that we henceforth be no more children, tossed to and fro. And that's the problem. Y'all just ready to be tossed to and fro because you won't do the volume of the book. And carried about with every wind of doctrine by a sleight of men and cunning craftiness, whereby they lie in wait to deceive. But speaking the truth in love may grow up in him, into him in all things, which is in the head of Yahushua. Which is in the head of Yahushua. No. Trillili, that's not why God took the kingdom from Solomon, because of the strange wife. He took the kingdom that was prophesied before he had the strange wives. I don't even know what you're getting at. It's best just to leave you alone for right now. You just making up stuff as you go along. You just like the scriptures right here said, that we henceforth be no more children tossed to and fro and carried about with every wind of doctrine by the sleight of men and cunning craftiness, whereby they lie in wait to deceive. You lied in wait, and guess what? You got deceived. But speaking truth in love may grow up in him in all things, which is the head, even Yahushua. Man, I'll tell you, our people, boy, they just don't want to get it. Let's go back to Ezekiel. Good thing we going back and forth. Old Testament, New Testament, Old Testament, New Testament. Ezekiel chapter 20. And verse 30. Wherefore say unto the house of Israel, thus said the Lord Yahweh, are ye polluted after the manner of your fathers, and commit ye whoredom after their abomination? That's what we like to do. We like to take on and look at our forefathers and do what they did wrong, instead of looking at what our forefathers did right and do the right things. That way we won't come to the same destruction that they did. Wherefore say unto the house of Israel, thus said the Lord Yahweh, are ye polluted after the manner of your father, and commit ye whoredoms after their abominations? For when ye offer your gifts, when ye make your sons to pass through the fire, we shouldn't be passing that down alone. It's time to come out of that. We was passed through the fire. Good thing, boy, we felt the goddamn coals was hot and got off the fire. For when ye offer your gifts, when you make your sons to pass through the fire, ye pollute yourselves with all your idols, even unto this day. And shall I inquire of by you, O house of Israel? As I live, said the Lord, I will not be inquired of by you. And that which cometh into your mind shall not be at all that ye say. Man. We would be as the heathen, as the families of the country, to serve wood and stone. Man, he said, I don't even want to inquire that. He said, I don't even want to inquire. And that which cometh into your mind should not be at all. I hope, man, whatever coming into your mind, I hope that should not be. New Testament on it, Old Testament on it, Trillili, thinking that Edomite is your husband, that's what you're supposed to have went and got. I hope that didn't come in your mind. I wish that no other woman would have to deal with that. No other brown colored woman or woman of color have to endure that. I hope they don't have to go. Don't do it. Don't do it. You'll be a testimony if you stay there. You'll be telling the women, don't marry one. Oh my goodness. Man, can y'all please stay on subject with this stuff, man? Oh, man. Talk to your brothers. Talk to them about what? And then the brother said about Laban. Laban was not, he was an Israelite. Why would Laban, he black? How can they go down the line? Well, where y'all get, I don't understand how y'all even coming up with some of this stuff. Laban was not white. Jacob did not marry two white women. There were two black women. They was of his own family. So how could you get to the point, weed and wine? How could you get to that point where you're thinking that Laban was a white man? And Shalili, I talk to my brothers all the time. I'm always talking to my brothers. They on there right now. What I need to tell them? What you want me to tell them? To go get a white woman? Nah, ain't enough flea collars to go around. Let's go here. Let's go back to these scriptures, boy. These people here, boy, I tell you. And that which cometh into your mind shall not be at all that ye say, we will be as the heathen, as the families of our other countries. And that's what you want to do, to serve wood and stone. And that's what you want to do. As I live, said the Lord God, surely with a mighty hand and with a stretched out arm and with the fury poured out, will I rule over you. And who is that mighty hand? Yahweh Shai. Ezekiel speaking on it. And I will bring you out from the people and will gather you out of the country wherein you are scattered, with a mighty hand and with a stretched out arm and with the fury poured out. And that brother didn't understand that. That's when, man, I know you're in some kind of sin, man. That's simple. And I will bring you into the wilderness of the people, and there will I plead with you face to face. Like as I pleaded with your fathers in the wilderness of the land of Egypt, so will I plead with you, said the Lord God. Because he saw them, it was a spirit that came upon him. Who did Moses see? That was a spirit. Who was that spirit? Yahweh Shai. I hope you're getting this, brother. I hope you look at this video. I hope all your Old Testament and New Testament only people look at the video. I hope you all look at it. I hope you all look at it. Take a good look. Like as I pleaded with your fathers in the wilderness of the land of Egypt, so will I plead with you, said the Lord God. Let's go to Acts chapter 4. Brother, then some of y'all, man, need to find a class and go to, and sit down and go to class and start learning. But Shalidi, I know you can't go to class. Ain't no, well, you can go to one body. They let white folks in. GLCC let white people in. Go ahead over there. But you ain't gonna learn what you're supposed to learn. Acts chapter 4, verse 24. And when they heard that, they lifted up their voice of God with one accord and said, Lord, thou art God, which has made heaven and earth and the sea, and all that in them is. Who by the mouth of thy servant David has said, why did the heathen rage, and the people imagine a vain thing? Why did the heathen rage and the people imagine a vain thing? Because the truth is coming out. The truth is coming out, whether y'all like it or not. And we're going to use the volume of the book, from the rooter to the tutor. We're going to use the volume of the book. We ain't going to be worried about what y'all got going on, because we can see the way y'all think it, y'all imagining a vain thing. Let's go to Psalm chapter 2. I'm about to close out. Let me give y'all a couple of scriptures. I'm about to close this class. Psalm chapter 2. I bet you some of you ain't just read the whole book of Psalms. I know the Bible. Psalm chapter 2. Why do the heathen rage and the people imagine a vain thing? The kings of the earth set themselves, and the rulers take counsel together against the Lord and against his anointed, saying, let us break the bands asunder and cast away their cords from us. He sitteth in the heavens shall laugh. The Lord should have them in derision. And that's what your people, if you gonna marry these goddamn demons, that's what's on their mind. And the Lord laughing at you and them, since you want to be with them. Since you trying to graft them in. First of all, if y'all talking about grafting in, I would love for y'all. Y'all got on your phones and the internet. Google grafting in. Understand what grafting in is first. When you read that, you realize they can't be grafted in on that tree, not on that branch. It doesn't work. It has to be a fruit. Like if it's a lemon tree, it has to be a citrus piece of thing that can build off that tree. Any other kind of tree can't be grafted in. It won't take it. But a fruit of its kind, it'll take, meaning like the northern kingdom. They can be grafted in. Look at what grafted in means. I don't know many people that's married them. And believe me, Trillili, the one that's married them want to be like white men. They like that. Those are going to be the 2/3. They're going to get slaughtered. We can't make everybody do no what's name. The people we know, the Israelites we know, marry black women, black, Hispanic, or Native American women. That's what they marry. I don't know what you're talking about. That's because you over there in that goddamn where all of y'all running around here looking like some damn zebras. You, not the people we know, we don't know those people. And believe me, we talk about every last one of them that cross us when we on the streets. Black men with white women with black men, we talk about all of them. And we're going to continue to talk about it. It's not just about because you married a one. Quit trying to get somebody to go on somebody. Why don't you knock yourself out for marrying a damn white man? God dang it. Why you telling us to get on them? We get on them. Hell, I didn't even get on you about this white thing until you came up on them, running your damn mouth. You said, I know Laban means white. So tell me, what white man do you know? You don't know a white man, weed and wine. You need to stay off that damn weed and wine. Yeah, they wouldn't even, they gave themselves that name later on. They wasn't called white. You ain't seen a white man in your life. Not one. That damn devil that girl married to, he ain't white. They red, like the Bible said. Bible ain't say nothing about no white man. So what you talking about? White means pure. Oh, God dang it, man. Dude, stay off that damn weed and wine, man. You need to stay off of it. Do you know who Laban is? Which Laban you talking about? Golly, man. He that sitteth in the heavens shall laugh. The Lord shall have them in derision. And that's exactly what happened. Then shall he speak unto them in his wrath and vex them in his sore displeasure. Yep, you in derision and you're going to be vexed in your sore displeasure. You're going to be in God's wrath, man. If you don't get this whole volume of the book, you're going to be in God's wrath. That's what you're going to be in. Yet have I set my king upon the holy hill of Zion, which is talking about Yahushua. I will declare the decree the Lord had said unto me. He said, I will set my king. Not that David is not telling you, I will set myself. I will declare the decree the Lord has said unto me. Thou art my son. This day have I begotten thee. Ask of me, and I shall give thee the heathen for thine inheritance. And yes, Chalila, that's your goddamn husband. You better yet, your husband ain't even yours. That's my slave. We inherited him. And the othermost parts of the earth for thy possessions. Thou shalt break them with a rod of iron, and thou shalt dash them into pieces like a potter's vessels. I can't wait to put your husband in one of these bags and just start smashing his butt up against the rocks. Be wise now, therefore, O ye kings, be instructed, ye judges of the earth. Serve the Lord with fear and with rejoicing with trembling. Kiss the Son, lest he be angry, and ye perish from the way. When his wrath is kindled but a little, blessed are all they that put their trust in him. Who is that talking about, people? We know it's not talking about David. We know it's not talking about Joshua. It's talking about Yahushua. And where do you go? Where do you go and listen to the words he said? In the New Testament. Where do you get this passage? If you're in the New Testament only, you will never see this about what Yahushua is planning on doing. You'll never see why the white people don't like us. You'll never see it because you won't go in the Old Testament. Let's go to Isaiah 28 and 10. I'm closing it out on that one. Isaiah chapter 28 and verse 10. And everybody, a lot of y'all should know this one. Whom shall he teach knowledge? And whom shall he make to understand doctrine? Them that are weaned from the milk and drawn from the breast. For precept must be upon precept, precept upon precept, line upon line, and they're little. But if you just hear them, you don't get it. If you just there a little, you don't get it. And you ain't gonna get it because you ain't got it. That's what our boy said. Just came out. I'm gonna go back and go give you one of Yahweh's laws he gave y'all the other day. And we're gonna go to Deuteronomy 23 and 6. I ain't make to go there because I know just being by that, boy, it'll make the people want to, ooh, see? We ain't gonna know. Thou shalt not seek their peace, nor their prosperity of all the days forever. We shouldn't even be seeking this peace of this Edomites who taught us this Bible. But now that we can read now, Master, we good. We know how to read. We got understanding. We fear the Most High God. And I love you, brothers and sisters that's in this truth, that's walking in this truth. Make sure y'all share and push that like button, man. And hey, man, let's keep moving, man. We can't be holding back sometime, man. We'll look at these other people, man, like this brother up here on this weed and wine and stuff, and stuck in something and Trillili on something else, man. We can't be sitting there waiting on them. We got to push forward. If they want to come, they better sprint. We moving. We moving. We moving. We know it's a race. We ain't walking in a race. We ain't in a dead sprint, but we getting there. And on that note, we're going to say shalom. Oh, shoot. I mean, look like I need to get me another mouse.